Hi. So if you're watching this video, you're probably going through the process of a loss of a relationship, whether that be through a breakup, a divorce. And first off, I just want to say that I'm so sorry to hear that that is what you're going through at this time. You know, in life, having relationships, having connection is one of the most precious things that we can experience in this life. And whenever we go through that process of loss, whether it be through a divorce or a breakup or even the loss of a loved one, these types of things can bring on emotions that are quite overwhelming and frankly just debilitating. So in this video, we're going to talk about two big questions. So the first question that we're going to cover is, how long does it take to get over my ex? Or how long does it take to actually work through the grieving process of that lost relationship? And the second question is, well, what kinds of emotions can I expect as I'm actually working through the grieving process? So how long does it take to get over my ex? How long does it take to get over the relationship? In short, the grieving process is different for everyone. There's no absolute timetable. For some people, it could take weeks, months, or years, and that's okay. What we do know in the grieving process, however, is that there are several different factors that can help an individual to work through the grieving process more efficiently. Some of those things might include, what does your social support system look like? Do we have a sense of individualized purpose despite the relationship? And how are we doing with regard to managing and sitting with these intense emotions? So those are some factors that are worth looking at. And it also begs the question, well, what does it mean actually to get over a relationship? And I would say that one of the telltale signs you know that you are making progress in the grieving process is that when you can sense that your emotional experience in reaction to the loss of that person, you're becoming more and more desensitized, and the emotional waves are not as intense and debilitating. So what does this mean in real life application? It means that you can go to the same restaurant that you used to go to. It means that you can hang out with mutual friends and not get triggered. It may even mean that you might see your ex in a public space and you can actually be civil. So if that's you, it might be an indicator that you're making progress. If you find that you're the type of person and you're still accessing negative emotions or debilitating emotions, it might be an indicator that there's still what I like to call some unfinished business in the relationship. So what emotions can I expect as I'm working through the grieving process? Now, bit of a disclaimer alert. 1, everybody grieves differently. 2, as I go through the timeline of these emotions, you may or may not necessarily experience these emotions in this particular order. It's very common for people to kind of bounce all over the place, especially as they encounter triggers to the relationship. So at the beginning of the list, we've got denial, right? You get the bad news that your loved one wants out, or maybe you're the one who is expressing that you want out, and you might go through a series of denial. You know, oh my gosh, this can't be happening, or get out of here. Like like, what are you talking about? That would be denial. Secondly, would be the emotion of anger. Now, in counseling, I always tell people that anger, it's always a secondary emotion. There's more foundational feelings. In this case, you're angry because you're feeling a sense of either fear about the future, hurt, or disappointment. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be one of those underlying emotions. It can be a kind of a combination, or possibly all three. The third emotion that an individual might experience in the grieving process would be rationalization or bargaining. So this is generally, as the person is like taking that severed relationship in, they might begin to tell themselves things such as, oh, well, they broke up with me. Well, they were keeping me away from doing X, Y, Z of a hobby, or, well, at least I can work on myself now, or I'm happier without them. So this is how an individual grieves, in the sense that they're looking for that sense of silver lining amidst the onset of the severed relationship. So fourthly would be depression. It's quite common for the individual to slip into a bit of an emotional funk of grieving as their life is changing. They're no longer a husband, a wife, a son, or a daughter, as they've lost that relationship. It can bring on some really intensified low mood emotions. And then fifthly and finally, the individual might experience a sense of acceptance. Acceptance, again, kind of going back to earlier, is when the individual is experiencing a desensitization of those strong emotions. They can go to familiar places again. Maybe they can go hang out at that old spot where they and their partner dated, or maybe they can experience a holiday without having intensified negative emotions. Or maybe they might even be in a situation to where, again, as I said earlier, they can see that person and not necessarily get triggered. So that's about it on today's video, you guys. If you find that some of the emotions that we talked about are maybe reflective of you, maybe you're feeling stuck or you're having a difficult time working towards acceptance or just getting there, I just want to encourage you to maybe consider reaching out to us to schedule maybe a brief intervention of 1 to 3 appointments. Sometimes these appointments might help to provide insight in moving towards acceptance. Or maybe for some of us who still are in dialogue with our loved one, sometimes mediation services might help in getting us the needed closure as we are working through the grieving process. So again, thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. And until next time, God bless you guys and see you soon. Take care.